Welcome back, traders. Second portion of our show, Market Movers. A lot of the markets are moving. They're moving down, Dennis. But anything going up this morning?
There is some stuff going up here. BBX, Bank Atlantic Bancorp, is getting bought by BB&T, which is symbol BBT. Stock has actually been all over the place since they've announced this. They announced this about 20 minutes ago. They're just after 8 o'clock. Stock closed at $2.37. It initially popped to $5 or $6 on this news. Then it fell down to as low as $3.70. Now it's all the way up at $8, $7.99. Now offered $7.25. They're having a tough time figuring out the premium on this one because it's not in stone. It's going to be based on the account balances at the close of the day and all this other funky stuff in there. So it's an interesting one. I to try to figure out the actual price of this BBX is kind of tough from this news release. So hopefully they give some more clarity throughout the day. But maybe Joel can at least do some numbers on BBT.
Yeah, currently the stock is trading below yesterday's low. That's 23.31. So let's use that. Oh, the close was right there too. So let's use that as resistance. Currently trading near pretty good support. You had 4 scattered lows from 22.67 up to also one at 22.99. But I'd really use this 22.70 number. We're only 20 cents away from there. If we break down through the 22.70 level, things open up at least to 22 and perhaps a 21.66. But just have to let the street digest this merger.
Pfizer announcing earnings there. The stock actually on this earnings beat was trading up, but the market is down so much that it's now actually went negative, trading 19.12 after closing at 19.26. So the stock, looking at the charts here, Joel, I see a little bit of support at 19. That was that old resistance number we used to talk about. So I wonder if that 19 might come into play kind of as a magnet number. Obviously failed up at 20 yesterday. I don't think that comes into play today, but you could see a little added volatility with the earnings.
Yeah, I have to agree. This stock has had the nice run. There's really nothing great at 19. I would see if the stock could at least get back above and hold yesterday's low and close at 19.26. Things open up a little bit there until the 19.75. Also some spotty lows from 18.80 to 18.90. So I would use that perhaps for the range for today, 18.80 to 19.20 for Pfizer.
I think we should talk about all the European bank stocks individually because these things have just had an incredible 2-day sell-off. Obviously like a stock like Deutsche Bank rallied, had a great month really here, bottoming in early October at 31.5. Now, breaking out over 40 there last week with this, Greece bailout, got as high up and then the 47. In 2 sessions, Joel, it's went from 47 to 37 because we're trading $37.49 right now. Closed 41.41 yesterday. Disaster for most of these European banks, but what do you think about DB individually?
Well, it had that nice range, and then they used that, that BS news to pump it up over 26, or over 46, and they're just able to hold that for a couple days before perhaps it's just going to fall back into this low 28 to 40 range that it held for a long time. I do see a little support that did come in at 37.60. See a couple lows in that area, so I use that as support. If they really keep things going to the negative, we could see 35.24 today.
Here's another one, Barclays. This thing on that news last week just touched under $14. We're 3 sessions later. It's trading 11.32. Like what that thing just gave back, basically 25% here in 3 sessions, Joel. This is a crazy move as well. 11.31 after closing 12.51 yesterday and touching almost $14 there last week.
Yeah, just a similar chart. You looked at one, you looked at them all. It looks like we're going to be sneaking back, under $12 here very comfortably. We could just be going back into go trade to the bottom of the range this thing. You will have some support coming in at 10.70 today. I'd use 11.20 as a swing number. We could be settling back into that $9 to $12 range, where it was before the deal that wasn't a deal that maybe a deal came out a couple days ago.
Yeah, maybe a deal is a deal, isn't a deal. Those headlines are just funny over there. It's good news, bad news every other day, so who knows over there. But ING is another one. This is incredible. This thing was $10.40 here last week. Trading down. It was a definitely sell the news event. You can't argue that. $7.45 right now. This stock is now actually approaching, the lows of last month. So here we had a move from $6.30 up to $10.40 last month. And in these few sessions, we've given back 60% of the gains, of what we had, of that move that we had. And, looking, back at the $7 and $6 area, Joel.
Right. I wouldn't touch this thing until it got it back and held, the 77 area. I do see a chance that perhaps this get a little bounce at 684, which was the low a few days ago. But not a few days ago, going back to earlier in the month. So now that the luster's off that deal, this could be settling back into the $6 to $9 range.
Obviously your U.S. financials are going to be probably very relatively weak just because how weak the European financials are. So, I know the market is down 2.5% here. Don't expect stocks like Citigroup, JP Morgan to be only down 2.5%. They're probably going to be down more than that. So, if you're using a fair value is going to be much lower for a lot of these financials, Joel. Like Citigroup, for instance, is trading $29.55 after closing $31.59. So terrible day for Citigroup yesterday, falling 7.5%. It looking to be down another 6.5% here today. What do you think on Citigroup, Joel?
Well, I was going to say, 29. I did say 30.50 is a swing number, but that was a little while ago. So now I'll bump that down. I'll bump that down to 29.70. Below that 29.70, you got 28.70. Just an interesting caveat, Dennis, with this MF Global, with all that exposure to Europe. After the deal, after supposedly we had this deal, is when they puked. That's when they went out of business. So obviously, whatever paper or whatever investments they had, with the current deal that was had, it was worthless. So now whoever is going to be buying their debt, whoever still hasn't declared bankruptcy from this, MF Global could just be the first of several U.S. banks that are going to get taken down by this European debacle.
Yeah, that's still, on the table here. It looks like this European debacle is going to be something that's going to be on the table for quite some time. So scary to be a buyer of banks in here, Joel. But if you're a day trader, maybe you can try to pick some bottoms. I'm looking at Goldman Sachs GS, the chart here. It was trading there 118, 119 there a couple sessions ago. It's 105 right now. It broke out from that 100 psychological area. I wonder if we'll find some buyers at $100 for GS. What do you think, Joel?
I mean, that's what it did break out. I mean, you're asking me to buy here in a swoon, but 100.08 was the low back on 10.25. So, we get a chance there. Below that, I'm looking at 98.28. But, I'd use your bids to cover shorts in this market, and then you'll probably regret it about 2 seconds later.
Yeah, well, the market's going to have a lot of volatility today. We're down 35 points here again. We're moving around points and spoos. It's not even moving around quarters. It's moving around points here this morning. So I expect a lot of volatility, and I expect a real lot of volatility in these financial stocks here, Joel, because they are going to be running around. Really, there's, what I'm seeing overall here, just an overall take on the market here today. Financials are very weak. I'm also seeing commodities look relatively weak to the market as well. And some of your defensive names, which held up yesterday, are holding up, they're all down, but not down quite as much as the overall market. So if you're trading, off of fair value plays, expect relative weakness in your financials, relative weakness in your, commodities, and expect a little bit of, not to be down quite as much in some of your defensive names.
Okay. Any other market movers, Dennis?
Not really too much, Joel. I mean, everything is moving, so we can't talk about everything single stock here. We are pulling out, there is small earnings play. So if you're trading, some of these smaller stocks, watch your earnings calendar. A couple hundred companies did report today, and after hours, but most of these companies, are companies that we don't really cover. They're too small. So, but do check your earnings calendar if you trade some illiquid names, because you don't want to be caught, being long or short a stock that actually does have earnings.
Okay. All right, folks. That's our show for today. If you have any questions on any individual equities, just shoot us an email. We'd like to just give you a quick technical look at it. It would not be a problem. We'll be back with you tomorrow, and hope everyone survives today. Have a good show. Have a good day.